Well, another beautiful day with another beautiful heat warning. And today, I'm heading about 3.5 hours south to pick up a bike that I impulsively purchased sight unseen. This should be fun. Alright, we got the 2 ramps and a wheel chock. The idea behind the 2 ramps is I'll run the bike up that one and then I'll walk up or down depending which way we're unloading or loading the bike down that one. So yeah, yesterday I made an impulsive buy. A very sorry, a very sad looking 86 GSX-R 750, about 3.5 hours away at a dealer. It's actually a Cycle Salvage place. So the price was okay. It was kind of too good to pass up. It's pretty sad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty rough. It's been painted badly. The seat's done. I don't even know if there's any keys with it. So, but it's got a clean title. The price was right, and I have to find myself a winter project, even though we're barely at the start of summer yet. But I got to look ahead, and these things don't come up very often for sale. I've always wanted a Slabbie, so here we go. About 3.5 hour drive, and we'll see what it looks like when we get there. Stay tuned. I should probably also warn you before we get too far into the video, you might want to have a vomit bag ready. There we are. And it looks just about as bad in person as it did on the video. It looks about as bad in person as it did in the pictures, I should say. So yeah, that's that tank is we need some help, as is the seat and every other part of the bike. Well, it's gonna need some work. What the heck have I done? Alright, well, we got her loaded up. A sad state of affairs this one is. This is going to take a lot of elbow grease. After the long ride home, see the bike in the back of the truck there, and it's about what I expected. It's not worse, it's not better. I guess that's a good thing. So the pictures that I saw is pretty much exactly what I got. So yeah, it's gonna need everything. So it won't be a cheap restoration, that's for damn sure. And it's, you know, it's a pretty rare bike now, so it's probably worth investing into a certain degree. But I might see if I can get a new tank off eBay for it. I did see one yesterday, and might see if I can find a rear fender. That might be the more difficult challenge. Rear fenders for any of the 80s sports bikes are becoming very hard to find, but we'll see how that goes. Most, if not all, the bodywork is there, as you can see, and I'm sure the lower panels are not in great shape. They've obviously been fixed, and bikes don't get painted like that unless they've been sent down the road once or twice. So I'm sure there'll be all kinds of horrors uncovered when I start tearing it apart, but you got to be prepared for that when you get into this kind of stuff. It's you basically find anything and everything. So looks like the bike's been sitting outside for a long time, so everything's going to be seized up on it. It's going to be a real brute, I think, to get it apart, but we'll get there. All right, we are back in the shop, and here it is in all its filth. It's yeah, it's about as bad as it looks. And I've already spotted a bit of a strange oddity here. I don't know what the answer to this is. Somebody out there will know. I'll probably find out, but I'll do some research. Hydraulic clutch slave. Manual clutch. So is this clutch slave and cover off a different bike earlier, later? There's a plug here where the clutch actuator rod would go, but it is covered off. It looks like there's a cover plate on that. But yeah, that's kind of strange. Not sure what that's all about. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, these everything's gonna need to be lubed. Challenge is no keys for this, no keys at all. So I'm gonna have to take that off and learn how to cut a key. If I can expose the cylinder, take the cylinder out so I can see the wafers in there. I'm gonna have my first shot at cutting my own key. That way at least I can get the gas cap off, the helmet or seat lock or whatever else that will work. There's a Vance & Hines pipe on it, which is about as good a condition as the rest of the bike. Actually, the pipe doesn't look too bad. It just looks weathered. All the body work is there. This doesn't look particularly healthy. It's been repaired, obviously. This has been poorly repaired. Cracked there. So yeah, it's real tired. The gas tank. I'm guessing that when this went down the road at some point, nobody repaired the dent per se. They just kind of filled it in with Bondo. You can see the Bondo kind of comes up and around here. So that's chipped off. I'm interested to see how the inside of the tank is. Hopefully it's not completely rusted out, but I'm sure it doesn't look good in there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. The seat is completely shagged, seat cover. The foam doesn't look bad, so it looks like it's recoverable from that perspective. Rear fender has been hacked off. No great surprise there. What else do I see? Oh, just the signs of a bike that's been left outside for a long, long time. A long time outside. Like all the corrosion on these carburetors. You know, it's it's quite corroded. All the fasteners are probably seized and rusted, no doubt. So yeah, it'll be a challenge for sure. Missing front turn signals, and somebody has put these cheap flush mounted aftermarket crap things on there, which I hate. The mirrors, one mirror is smashed off, the other mirror is smashed but not completely off, so it needs new mirrors. So yeah, it's this is going to be there's no brakes, by the way. That's made it interesting getting it off the back of the truck, but we got it off. And as I said, I have to do a bit of research as to what's going on with the clutch, because it is a manual clutch here, which is working there, but there's a clutch slave down there on that chain guard. So don't know what the deal with that is. Obviously, one of those two things is not original to the bike. Who knows what that is? And then everything else, you know, this is going to take, I mean, all the consumables obviously will have to be replaced. Chain, sprockets, tires, brakes, fork seals, bearings everywhere. All of that stuff will have to be replaced. Body work, it'll need everything. obviously. Repairs, paint, decals, seat cover, pipe blasted, and that's before we even get any of the covers off, and even before I even attempt to start the bike in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. The good news is most of it is here. Most of it. I'm sure the stuff that's missing will be the stuff that's, you know, hard to get, but I mean, I did find some replacement mirrors already. I haven't bought them yet. I imagine the rear fender will be difficult, if not impossible to find. The gas tank, I did find one on eBay. I'm going to try to get the cap off this tank sooner rather than later if I can get myself to cut a key. And then we'll see what's it like inside before I take the plunge on another tank. Okay, so I did a little bit of research online and looking at this engine. The R707, so the R means it's a basically a 750, 748 cc in this case. The 7 means this. The next 7 is a 4-stroke. The 07 is the version of the 750 engine, and the 07 versions were kind of late 80s, early 90s. So basically a slingshot engine. So, and that may explain why I think they have those flat slide carbs in there too. So it's probably like an 88, 89, 90 series GSX-R engine in here, which explains the manual clutch. I went on to CMS NL, and certainly in 88, 89, 90 they had the manual clutch, and prior to that they had a hydraulic clutch. So that would explain why we have that slave here and why we have that manual clutch operation here and those flat slides and that engine number. So what does that mean for the restoration? Well, it means it's never going to be kind of an all original numbers matching bike, which, you know, it's fine. It's a period correct, I guess we'll call it. That's about as far as we can go from an originality perspective. But what it does do is it kind of takes a bit of a load off the pocketbook and the wallet as far as hunting down OEM parts to bring this thing back to like 100% OEM. If that was an original 86 engine, I would be loath to, you know, to take any shortcuts, we'll call it, or to put any sort of original parts on it, or period correct parts for the 86 model year. But what this kind of does for me is it gives me a bit of latitude on the work I'm going to do. So basically, here's my plan at this point in time. Nothing is getting spent on this until I get it running, and I'm not even going to be able to touch this for some time. And it's going to take probably a pile of work just to get it to fire up. I'm guessing those carburetors are just horrible with so much corrosion on those. That's going to take a lot of work. There's a lot of freaking rusted screws and fasteners and whatnot there, so that's going to be a lot of work to get that sorted out. So assuming I can get it running, once that hurdle's crossed, then I can think about actually restoring it. And I was originally going to do it in the original, kind of either the original Suzuki blue and white, which is, this bike was a blue bike. I was going to either do that, or I was going to do the black, silver, and red. But since it's not ever going to be like an all original bike, I've kind of opted for looking at doing a Skull Bandit replica in this case. So, I mean, it's, again, as I said, it's never going to be an all original bike, but I could certainly sleep at night turning this into a Skull Bandit replica machine. I can then, you know, nothing has to be all original. I don't have to lose a lot of sleep if I can't find a rear fender. So, yeah, so there we go. That's what the current plan is. That could all change, but that's what the current plan is. First thing I do need to do, though, is to get a key cut for this. These are Suzuki keys after a bike I had many years ago that I just kind of kept. They didn't actually fit anything on the bike, but I can get them to insert into the ignition So I believe it's the right sort of key blank. If I take this to get a blanket, I can disassemble this. And as I said before, I can't yet get anything to go into the gas cap. It's just freaking seized solid. So I'm soaking that in penetrating oil. That's going to take a pile of persuasion over the next little while, but I'm just going to keep it that. And as soon as I can get this thing to, I'm going to get the, I'll take this apart and see what I can get to happen there. But yeah, she's, to say this is a tired bike is an understatement. But hey, it's part of the fun of the hobby, I guess, is trying to rescue these things. I'm a bit of a sucker, apparently, for a project. This I think safe to say this is probably the worst condition bike that I've ever attempted or will ever attempt to restore if I take it that far. As I said before, I got to get it running before I make that final determination. But yeah, she's rough. Holy cow. And there's freaking grass everywhere. So my guess is we're sitting outside behind a shed somewhere. I mean, there's bits of, you know, dead grass in here and such. So no doubt it was sitting, leaning up against somebody's shed, kind of forgotten and abandoned for a long time. So yeah, you guys know what it's like. If you're into this kind of thing, you can't help but feel that you've got to rescue things and spend inordinate amounts of money to get them fixed up and whatnot. So we'll see where we end up on this guy. Boy, that ugly. Golly. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. This is not going to get underway in any sort of meaningful fashion for quite some time because I'm still working on the CB900F over there. And then the CBX-750 will go back on the lift because I've got to pull this engine and fix the chain tensioner and chain inside there. That's got to be done still. But I'll pick and fart away at this for a little bit now and again. As I said, I got to get that key working, so maybe I'll post a video of how I cut my own key. I've watched videos on it on YouTube, so seems like a doable thing. We'll give that a shot. And maybe these carburetors are going to deserve their own video or 10. Just getting, holy shit, getting these things back to some sort of semblance of functionality. I'm afraid of what might be inside these. Hopefully they're better on the inside than they are on the outside, but golly. But apparently it turns over, so. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like what you see, make some comments below. Or if you don't like what you see, make some comments below. I keep wondering what the heck I've done here. But I mean, I didn't spend a fortune on it, so that's the good side of the story. But golly, this sucker is rough. Man, is it ever rough. Talk to you soon.